The winter snow fell gently across the Montana landscape as the stagecoach pulled up to the modest ranch house, its wooden wheels crunching through the fresh powder that blanketed the valley. 26-year-old Elellanar Watson gathered her blue traveling dress around her and clutched her worn leather suitcase, her heart racing with a mixture of anticipation and nervousness about meeting her intended husband. Eleanor had answered an advertisement for a mail-order bride, seeking a fresh start after losing her family in a fire back east. The arrangement had been made through letters with a Mr. Benjamin Turner, who owned a prosperous cattle ranch and needed a wife to help care for his home and his young daughter. The correspondence had been formal but kind, and Eleanor had allowed herself to hope that this new life might bring her the family and security she had been longing for. As the stagecoach driver helped her down and retrieved her belongings, Eleanor looked around at the snow-covered ranch with its modest log buildings and the mountains rising majestically in the distance. It was beautiful, but smaller and more rustic than she had expected based on the letters describing a successful cattle operation. "This is the Turner Ranch, miss," the driver said, setting her suitcase in the snow. "Good luck to you." Before Eleanor could respond, the front door of the ranch house opened and a tall man stepped onto the covered porch. He wore a brown leather vest over a cream-colored shirt, dark pants, and a wide-brimmed hat that shadowed his face. As he approached, Eleanor could see that he was perhaps in his early 30s with strong features and eyes that held a mixture of surprise and confusion. "Ma'am," the man said, removing his hat respectfully, "I am afraid there might be some mistake. I am not expecting any visitors today." Eleanor felt her stomach drop as she realized something had gone wrong. "Are you Mr. Benjamin Turner?" she asked, though she could already sense from his reaction that he was not. "No, ma'am, I'm Jacob McKenna, and this is the McKenna Ranch. The Turner Ranch is about 20 miles north of here near Silver Creek." Eleanor's face went pale as she understood that she had been delivered to the wrong destination. The stagecoach had already begun to pull away, and the driver had not heard the conversation. She was stranded at a stranger's ranch with winter snow falling and no way to reach her intended destination until the next scheduled transport. "Oh no," Eleanor whispered, her hand flying to her mouth. "I am so sorry for the confusion. I am Eleanor Watson and I was supposed to marry Mr. Turner tomorrow." The driver must have misunderstood the destination. Jacob looked at this distressed young woman standing in his yard with her suitcase and her wedding dress carefully packed away and felt his heart go out to her predicament. "Miss Watson, you cannot travel to the Turner Ranch in this weather, especially not today. The snow is getting heavier and it will be dark soon. You are welcome to stay here tonight and I will help you get to the right place tomorrow." Before Eleanor could respond, a small figure appeared in the doorway of the ranch house. A little girl who appeared to be about 7 years old stepped onto the porch wearing a brown vest over a cream-colored dress that matched the colors of the winter landscape. Her dark hair was neatly braided and her eyes sparkled with curiosity as she looked at the unexpected visitor. "Papa," the little girl called out. "Who is the pretty lady?" Jacob turned toward his daughter with a gentle smile. "Molly, this is Miss Watson. She was traveling to another ranch, but there was a mix-up. She will be staying with us tonight." Molly's face lit up with excitement as she ran through the snow toward Eleanor, her small boots leaving tiny footprints in the white powder. Without hesitation, the child reached out and grasped Eleanor's skirt, looking up at her with eyes full of wonder and hope. "Miss Watson," Molly whispered, her voice filled with the kind of innocent faith that only children possess. "God finally sent you to us, did he not?" Eleanor felt her breath catch as she looked down at this sweet child who was gazing at her with such trust and longing. There was something in Molly's expression that spoke of months or perhaps years of hoping for someone exactly like Eleanor to arrive. "Molly," Jacob said gently, approaching them with concern in his voice. "Miss Watson is just staying the night. She has to go to another ranch tomorrow to meet her intended husband." But Molly did not release her hold on Eleanor's skirt. Instead, she pressed closer and looked up with the kind of earnest determination that children show when they know something important that adults have not yet realized. "Papa, I have been praying every night for God to send us a mama," Molly said with complete seriousness. "And look, he sent Miss Watson right to our door in the snow. That has to be a sign." Eleanor knelt down in the snow so she could look Molly in the eye, touched by the child's immediate acceptance and obvious need for a mother figure. "Molly, That is very sweet. But I have made arrangements to marry someone else. I have given my word. Molly studied Eleanor's face with the intensity of a child trying to understand why adults make things so complicated. But Miss Watson, do you love the man you are supposed to marry? The question was so direct and innocent that Eleanor found herself answering honestly. I have never met him, Molly. We have only exchanged letters. Then how do you know he is the right papa for you? Molly asked with the logical simplicity that often confounds adults. Jacob stepped forward, clearly embarrassed by his daughter's bold questions. Molly, that is enough. Miss Watson has made her plans and we need to respect that. But Eleanor continued to kneel in the snow, held by something in Molly's eyes that made her question everything she thought she knew about her future. Molly, what makes you think God sent me here? Molly's face grew serious as she shared something that was clearly very important to her. Because last night I dreamed about a lady in a blue dress who came to take care of Papa and me. And today you came wearing the exact same blue dress from my dream. Eleanor looked down at her blue traveling dress, then up at Jacob, who was watching this exchange with an expression of wonder and growing understanding. Miss Watson, Jacob said quietly, I do not want to interfere with your plans, but I have to tell you that Molly has been asking God for a mother every single night since her own mother died 2 years ago. I have never seen her take to anyone the way she has taken to you. Eleanor felt tears spring to her eyes as she realized that this chance mistake might not be a mistake at all, but something much more meaningful. Jacob, I came west looking for a family and a place to belong. I thought I knew where that place was, but standing here with Molly, I feel something I have never felt before. What is that? Jacob asked, his voice gentle but filled with hope. I feel like I am already home, Eleanor admitted, surprising herself with the truth of the statement. Molly clapped her hands together with joy. I knew it. I knew God would send us the right mama. Over the following days, as the snow continued to fall and travel became impossible, Eleanor had the opportunity to experience life at the McKenna ranch. She discovered that Jacob was a kind, hard-working man who had been struggling to raise Molly alone while managing his small but thriving cattle operation. Molly was bright, loving, and desperately in need of a mother's care and guidance. More importantly, Eleanor discovered that the connection she felt with both Jacob and Molly was deeper and more natural than anything she had experienced in her correspondence with Benjamin Turner. The three of them fit together like pieces of a puzzle that had finally found their proper places. When the weather cleared and a messenger arrived from the Turner ranch, Eleanor made a decision that surprised everyone, including herself. She wrote a letter to Benjamin Turner explaining that she would not be able to fulfill their marriage arrangement. And she asked Jacob if she could stay at the McKenna ranch permanently. Eleanor, Jacob said as they stood together on the porch, watching Molly play in the snow. Are you certain this is what you want? You gave up a lot to come west, and Turner has a much larger operation than mine. Eleanor smiled, watching Molly build a snowman with the kind of carefree joy that only comes from feeling completely secure and loved. Jacob, I did not come west looking for wealth or status. I came looking for a family, and Molly was right. God did send me exactly where I needed to be. 6 months later, on a beautiful spring day with wildflowers blooming across the Montana meadows, Eleanor and Jacob were married in a simple ceremony at the little church in the nearby town. Molly served as both flower girl and maid of honor, beaming with happiness as she watched her prayers being answered. During the ceremony, the pastor spoke about how God sometimes redirects our paths when we think we are lost, leading us to destinations more wonderful than anything we could have planned for ourselves. Sometimes, the pastor said, what appears to be a mistake is actually a miracle in disguise. Sometimes we have to get lost before we can be found. As Eleanor and Jacob exchanged vows with Molly standing beside them holding a bouquet of wildflowers, Eleanor reflected on how a simple transportation error had led her to the life she had always dreamed of but never dared to hope for. The stagecoach driver's mistake had delivered her not to the wrong ranch, but to the right family. Molly's innocent faith had seen what the adults had missed. That sometimes the most important journeys are not the ones we plan, but the ones that happen when we have the courage to recognize that we have already arrived where we belong. Years later, when Eleanor would tell the story of how she came to the McKenna ranch, She would always smile and say that sometimes the best destinations are the ones we never meant to find. And sometimes a little girl's prayers can redirect a stagecoach.